Welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez. Behind the scenes is Nicole Burdick, and we're so glad you're here because it's story time. I am starting the new year with a new series sponsored by TCG Home, and I'll tell you all about them in a minute. But first, how are we feeling about Sheoldred these days, huh? Yeah, she's kinda everywhere, and that makes her one of the most expensive cards in Standard at the moment. Which is why today I wanted to talk about how to make your own $1 Sheoldred. It all starts right here with this guy, Gixian Puppeteer. He is very, very similar to Sheoldred. 4 mana, card draw drains life, 4 power even. Unfortunately, while Sheoldred is great in just about any black deck, Puppeteer here needs a little bit of help, but he does have 2 advantages. Number 1, he's got a built-in reanimation clause we can take advantage of. And number 2, he is far cheaper than a real Sheoldred. So the question is not, is Sheoldred a better card? Because obviously she is. The question is, can we turn Puppeteer into a $1 Sheoldred? And I think we can. Now, the whole point of this new series is that I am going to ask you the question, and then you're going to answer in the comments. But before that, I will always try to defend my own answer first, however I can. With that said, let me show you the key cards I have picked that will turn our Puppeteer into a $1 Sheoldred. Up first, Rona, Herald of Invasion, and I absolutely love this card. She is cheap to play. She can sculpt your hand in the early turns before flipping into a much more dangerous creature, and all of that works great with Puppeteer. You just play Rona on turn 2 or 3, and then Puppeteer on 4, and then use Rona's ability to draw and discard. The Puppeteer sees you draw your second card for the turn, and immediately takes 2 life from your opponent, gives it to you. If your opponent kills Rona, maybe after you flip her into Tolarian Obliterator, that's fine, because when Puppeteer dies, he can bring her back, which is a great way to get around his own restriction. Usually he can only bring back stuff that costs 3 or less, but since Rona can upgrade herself into effectively a 6 mana creature again, you kind of come out ahead. Another key card for the same reasons is Vohar. It's another body that can loot and thus reliably activate our Puppeteer. So whenever I am designing a new deck, I start with my key 3, and they should all have synergy or overlap or help support each other in some way. So for this brew, I've got Puppeteer, who wants to see us draw a second card each turn. Rona and Vohar can both make that happen the turn we play the Puppeteer. Then, when Puppeteer dies, if we've got Rona or Vohar in our graveyard, he can bring either one of them back, and then they can do their own thing. Rona can become a bigger creature. Vohar can use the second ability to sacrifice itself to let us recast an instant or sorcery. And all 3 of these cards are quite cheap and easy to acquire, so I think it's a good cornerstone for a deck. But let me propose some other options to you. Going to use the handy tags filter here to find our enablers for this strategy. Other ways to enable our $1 Sheoldred: Phyrexian Arena, Collector's Vault, Quick Study, Vampire's Kiss, and Aetherblade Agent, which can transform itself into Gixian Mind Stinger, a 3/3 with Death Touch, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player or battle, draw a card. So just like Rona, this guy's another great one to bring back when our Puppeteer dies, because he's 2 mana, but then he can upgrade himself into a much more dangerous threat. And Vampire's Kiss is in here because it speeds up our drain with another lose 2, gain 2, and it creates 2 blood tokens, which we can then use to draw more cards and trigger our Puppeteer over and over, even using them both on our opponent's turn to draw 2 cards that way. And if we've got all of these enablers, we can actually get some other payoffs going as well. Fairy Vandal and Evangel of Synthesis both get bigger when we draw our second card each turn, and I'm also putting Halo Forager in here, who synergizes well with the cards we're discarding. And she costs 3, so we can set up a turn where the puppeteer dies, we bring her back, and then we get to use her ability to replay an instant or sorcery from our graveyard, maybe another Vampire's Kiss, for example. And lastly, your supporting cards can be just removal spells that you can recast with Vohar or Halo Forager, or decent 3-cost creatures. I'm trying out Gumdrop Poisoner for the life gain, and for the fact that she works well with the drain effect of the Puppeteers and Vampire's Kiss. So where does that leave us? Well, with a pretty spicy budget list that has a lot of natural synergy, and the best part is you can create it for less than the price of one Sheoldred, and you still get to basically do the same thing. So I don't have a full complete deck list for you. That's not the point of the question. The whole point is to get you thinking about deck building and card evaluation in a different way. Standard is now rotating on a 3-year cycle. The card pool is huge, and there are some very expensive cards out there. But my whole thesis is that you don't have to use those. With some clever deck building, you can apply a budget, and you can create something that will perform perfectly well at F&M or other local events. I mean, it's getting pretty expensive out there, so us lore mages have to look out for each other. So, did I convince you? Or do you think Sheoldred really is 80 times better than Gixian Puppeteer? Let me know in the comments, and while you're there, check out my link for TCG Home, the sponsor of this video. TCG Home, and that's all of this stuff down here, is a new free-to-use web app that tracks your collection and keeps it organized with helpful tags. You can check pricing data, deck lists, oracle text, and so much more, and it's all free. And if you create an account and then use the automatically generated referral code to get your own friends to sign up, you'll all be entered into their January promotion, which has some great prizes, including, potentially, a Wheel of Fortune. So yeah, TCG Home, definitely worth checking out, and I appreciate them sponsoring the question today. I'm very excited to see if I've convinced you to try building your own $1 Sheoldred, so leave me a comment with your thoughts, then make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the great stories you'll only find here on Magic Arcanum. We'll see ya!